The topic is art of meditation. I'll try to present few ideas from our ancient wisdom. Then we'll analyze these ideas with our questions and try to internalize them through our question answers. Then we'll have a practical meditation technique to practice. Yoga for body, yoga for our inner verbalization, yoga for our mind, yoga for our being, spirit. Every day we had a different topic, different subject. Now I will give you a very simple presentation, few concepts about how our mind works, how we perceive things, how we process information inside our system, and how we take decisions, and where we can infuse peace, where we are missing the peace and bliss, where we can infuse peace and bliss. Let me give you a simple diagram. How we perceive things, how the information is processed inside our system according to yoga. Then we'll analyze these concepts with our questions. First thing, you see something through your eyes. The information which you receive through eyes goes to something called chakshu. In Sanskrit we call it chakshu. It's almost like a digital signal processor. The whole file is digitized. The information which you receive through eyes are digitized in the chakshu. Next, the whole file goes to chitta. Chitta is the memory. In chitta, elimination happens, the excluding happens. For example, if you are seeing me, the information which you receive through eyes goes to the chakshu. In chakshu, the whole file is digitized. Then the file goes to chitta. Chitta discriminates. This is not animal. This is not a plant. This is not a tree. This is not a mountain. The discrimination is done by the chitta. Then the whole file goes to manas. In Sanskrit they call it as manas. English mind. You may use any word. The mind does the process of identifying. Memory, chitta does the work of this is not, this is not, this is not. Manas does the work of this is it, this is it, this is it. It starts identifying. First it says, oh, a Swami. Then it says, meditation teacher. Whatever your mind wants to say, it gives you the identification. This is it. That is explained by the mind. Next, the whole file takes a quantum leap, goes to your ego. The whole file completely takes a quantum leap, goes to your ego. Then you decide how I am supposed to respond to this moment or to this file. You decide what is there for me with this information. For example, you are seeing me, the file, you are seeing me through the eyes, the file goes to chakshu, the whole file is digitized. And then the file goes to chitta. Chitta says, this is not this, this is not this, this is not this. This is not a tree, this is not a plant, this is not an animal. Then the whole file goes to manas. Manas decides, oh, this is a human being, this is a Swami. This is, you start identifying. Then the whole file goes to ego. Ego decides what is there for me with this person. Based on your past experiences with other meditation teachers or other swamis, you decide whether to sit here or not to. You decide based on your past experiences. If you had good experiences with some other guru, some other master, with some other spiritual teacher or meditation teacher, you decide, let me sit here. This is the place for me. I should learn something. If you had some bad experience with somebody who was wearing the same orange robe, immediately you decide, no, this is not the place for me. I don't want to sit here. That what is there for me, that connection is given by the ahankar, ego. Then the command comes back to the mind. The command is executed. You start doing what you want to do. One thing, if this whole process, if it is straight, clear, as I explained now, there will be no problem. But it is not completely conscious or straight, as I explained. At one point, you take a different path. Only from I to mind, the process is conscious, straight, which is under your control. As I explained now, it is straight, logical. From I to mind, it is completely logical. No problem. But from mind to ego, it is unconscious. It is not under your control. That is why, logically, if you analyze, you know smoking is injurious to health. According to the information which you receive through senses, according to the process of chakshu, chitta, manas, you know smoking is injurious to your health. But suddenly you decide to smoke. Why? If it is straightforward conscious process, when you know it is not good for your health, naturally you will drop. But we say, no, I know it is not good. But it's a small story. One guy came to me and said, Swamiji, a week ago I read a book which explains the negative impacts on our being by smoking. After that, I stopped. I asked him, oh, you stopped smoking, that's nice. He said, no, Swamiji, I stopped reading like these confusing books. You know, many times you know which is right and wrong, but we are not able to decide with our straight logical data. The data which you get logically, if you decide based on that, your whole life will be conscious. The conscious life is what I call spiritual life, integrated life, holistic life. But we are not. In many places, we do make unconscious decisions. Why we make? When the file takes a quantum leap, this area, the unconscious zone, is filled with lot of samskaras, engraved memories. That is the right word for samskara. Engraved memories. These engraved memories, they just decide on their own without asking your permission. Logically, you know smoking is injurious for health. But suddenly you decide, let me smoke. Because of the engraved memory, samskara. Samskara is so powerful, it can just pull you to do the same act again and again. It has got tremendous power, force over your being. These samskaras are the root cause for many illnesses. I can say at least all psychosomatic illnesses. Samskaras are the root cause. These samskaras, these engrams, are the reason for our stress. If you see your life, the same incident, the same person will create a different types of response, will create a different emotion in your being at different times. When you are in a good mood, calm mood, the same incident, you will be able to handle it much better way. If you are disturbed, even a small incident, you are totally depressed. You are not able to handle it. It is because of the samskaras. The engrams play a major role in your thinking system. For example, if you are hurt or disturbed by somebody who was wearing white cloth, whenever you see a person wearing white cloth, that engram automatically comes up. That is why, if you are hurt, disturbed in a particular place, when you see that place again, even if that person is not there, you will have that same low mood. You will have that same depression. You will project the same thing in the place. At some time, it's very serious. The major decisions which you make are impacted because of these samskaras. In major decisions, when you take a major decisions, very important things in your life, if the samskaras inspire you, you don't even know in which direction you are traveling. You don't even know in which direction you are traveling. Especially some engrams which is deeply recorded inside your being unconsciously. Continuously you repeat them without awareness. Continuously you repeat them without even your awareness. Especially morning when you start brushing your teeth, you can see your mind will be repeating some words which is not directly related to your life, which is not directly related to your routine. Simply you will be repeating something. When you are taking bath, your mind will be repeating some words. I always tell people, if you are in the house, brushing your teeth, you are already in the office, thinking about your routine. If you are in the office, seeing patients, already you are in the beach, having vacation. If you are sitting in the beach, enjoying the cool breeze, already you are there in the house, thinking about your next routine. One thing is sure, you are not there where you are. If you are here, we can be sure you are everywhere except here. We just continuously go around. We almost live like ghosts because of these samskaras, because of these engrams. Continuously you are repeating something inside your being which is not directly logically connected to your routine or to your life. This unconscious process creates a lot of disturbance in your physical health and mental health. For example, when you are in deep fear or in a high peak mood of greed, these engrams, these samskaras gets recorded in your system. If a small girl falls into a swimming pool or a stream of water, if people shout, "Oh, she can't breathe, catch her, help her," that word gets recorded in her system as a samskara. She will suffer asthma even after becoming 40, 50. Continuously the samskara repeats itself in her being. I have seen hundreds of cases like these people suffering because of samskaras. I work with patients. We heal through meditation. At least in the last 2 years, more than 200,000 people had a spiritual healing touch or meditation through our institution. I'm working with lakhs of people. I tell you from my experience, many of the psychosomatic illnesses has got their roots in samskaras. If we can heal this samskara, we can do a very big service to the humanity. The meditation heals the samskaras. Meditation helps you to come out of the samskaras. Apart from the physical health, the mental health also. The stress, the main root cause for stress is the samskaras. Actually, these samskaras, when they are sitting in this unconscious zone, they will not allow any file directly to reach the ego. More the samskaras, more the file will be distorted. Everybody will sign their opinion on that file. Understand? The file is supposed to move from this table, this person to that person. Between, if there are only 2-3 persons, the file will move quickly and file will go as it is. If there are 300 persons sitting in between, everybody will write their opinion. By the time the file reaches the last person will not know what decision to make. He just says something, decision is made, and it is executed. More the engrams, more the samskaras, more confusion and more stress. And the process also takes more time. That is why many times you will not be able to decide for 10 years. Simple decision we will not be able to take even for 10 years because more engrams, more samskaras. By the time people decide whether to get married or not, already the life is over. Many times you can't decide. Why? Because too many engrams, too many samskaras. The process takes too long time. So many persons writing their opinions. What will happen to the file? You will never be able to decide. It becomes a complete confusion. Too many engrams create many psychosomatic illnesses and confusion in our day-to-day life, whether it is relationships or it's a profession. It will be very difficult to take any decision. Even small decisions look like too big. You feel that you are not able to take the decisions. You feel insecure continuously even to take the small decision. People are not able to do any change in their life because of these engrams. Too many samskaras. You will not be able to move in your life. The whole courage or the power to move in the life is completely disturbed. The unconscious process or the engrams is the root cause, the single root cause for many of our problems. If we can infuse peace, silence into this unconscious zone, the whole unconscious zone becomes conscious zone. Because the moment you remove the engrams, the moment you remove the samskaras, the whole process will be under your control, will be under your awareness, will be under your consciousness. Only because of the samskaras, the process goes to the unconscious zone. If the samskaras are removed by infusing peace into the unconscious zone, the whole thing will come under your awareness. Removing the samskaras by infusing peace into the unconscious zone is what I call meditation. One more thing. The time taken for the conscious process and time taken for the unconscious process. It's okay. I like it. It's okay. The time taken for the conscious process and the time taken for the unconscious process only decides whether you are in the instinct level or intellect level or in the intuition level. If the time taken for the conscious process is more than unconscious process. For example, unconscious process, if you take less time, you are an instinct level. Immediately you choose. Of course, the file goes very late. Because you can't wait for file, you just decide something. File never reaches even the ego. In between, somebody decides. The leader is never given a chance to decide. Simply in between, somebody signs the file and passes the order. You start executing it. The time taken for the unconscious process is less, means you are an instinct level, animal level. If the time taken for conscious and unconscious, if it is equal, then we are in the level of intellect, man, human level. If the time taken for unconscious, if it is more, means we are more peaceful inside our being. We are more silent inside our being. We are more integrated inside our being. We are calm inside our being. Means we are in the level of intuition, in the level of God. Animal, man, God. Instinct, intellect, intuition. All these three levels are decided only based on the meditation power. If you can infuse more and more silence into your unconscious zone, we can move from instinct to intellect, intellect to intuition. Intuition word is one more important word. Very difficult for logical people to understand that there is something called intuition exists. Very small example. In one of our meditation camp, one person asked me, Swamiji, many times I get an experience like when I am sitting in a party, suddenly I feel that within 5 minutes somebody is going to come or something is going to happen. And actually it happens. If I hear a telephone ringing, suddenly I remember some friend's name whom I have not seen or remembered for last 10 years. I remember his name. When I pick up the phone, he is there on the line. When I hear the doorbell, suddenly I remember some relative's name. When I go and open the door, he is standing. He is there. This happens in my life many times, Swamiji. How it happens? Why it happens? I asked the whole crowd, how many of you experienced like this at least once in your life? The same moments. She told one more thing. When I go to some friend's house, when I go first time, suddenly I feel I come to the same place already. And I am able to tell in which room what things are there. And it's exactly there as it is. When I ask the group, how many of you had this type of experience at least once in your life? More than 80% raised their hands. Now let us analyze. How many of you had this type of experience at least once in your life? See, now we should understand, analyze something. If it is in one person's life, once or twice, we can reject it in the name of coincidence. Oh, it's just coincidence. We can reject. But when it happens in so many persons' lives, so many times, how can we reject it? Just with a simple word, coincidence. We can't reject this just with a simple word, coincidence. There is something more. We can't use just one word and remove or put this whole thing aside. There is something more than our intellect. We need to look into it. We need to analyze it. Of course, a lot of research are being done. I do not know much about the other things. But one thing is sure. According to yoga, I can explain this phenomenon. At that moment, fortunately, knowingly or unknowingly, you come to the present moment. When you come to the present moment, you will have the power, energy to see what is going to happen next. Almost no confusion. You reach the state where There is no confusion. No engrams are signing your file. At that moment, for that single moment, no engrams are signing your file. Your file is straight away reaching the ego without any signature from any samskaras. The whole process is conscious. That is why suddenly you get glimpse of intuition. Suddenly you get what is going to happen next. You can stay continuously in that same state by practice. People tell me, Einstein says in one place, logic is a servant, intuition is a gift from higher energy. I tell you, intuition is not just gift. You can make it as a salary. If it is a gift, we have to wait. Who will give, when they will give, what time, whether it will come or not, we don't know. You can make this as a salary. You can work for it. You can achieve it. You can make it as your life. We can stay in that same state of intuition or same state of ultimate consciousness continuously through meditation. One more thing I want to say, because it's a very important thing for doctors. Yesterday we were analyzing about this subject. Taking the negative energies of patients continuously, whether you believe it or not, you are meditating on patience. Continuously you are contemplating on negativities, the problems of the patients. There was a beautiful research which I was reading, that in medical schools, if a particular subject, or if they are teaching about particular disease, more than, for example, headache or knee pain, back pain, more than 40% of the students show the same symptoms at the time of teaching. 40%. When you continuously contemplate on some particular disease or symptom, you tend to feel it. Even you can see when you listen about some symptom, you just compare inside your mind. Do I have that? Do I have it? When you contemplate, you try to express or experience the same things in your system. Continuously, whether you believe it or not, accept it or not, we are meditating on patience. And when whatever things you are receiving, the negative engrams or the negative ideas you are receiving from the patients, straight away goes and settles down in the unconscious zone. It is in the unconscious zone, creating more trouble for us, as if we have less karmas, as if we have less samskaras. We acquire more and more samskaras, which creates more trouble, more complications in our life. That is why in Ayurveda and Yoga system, they emphasize every healer has to meditate to disconnect the etheric connection from the patients. Every healer has to clean himself, disconnect himself from the etheric connection of the patients. It is not only for healers, even for doctors. When you are continuously listening to the problems of patients, naturally you get associated, or you start swallowing all their problems, those negative ideas, negative thoughts. You can see in your life many times, even after coming back to the house, your mind will be repeating the words which you heard from the patients. Mind is just continuously repeating the same words which we heard from patients. We need to clean ourselves. Please at least take 10 to 15 minutes per day to clean yourself. Just like when you come out of the hospital, clean your hands, you take bath, keep yourself away from the bacteria. Same way, you need to meditate and disconnect ourselves. We need to meditate and disconnect ourselves from the etheric connections or the negativities which we are receiving. We need to keep the quality of our inner space, the unconscious zone, We need to keep our inner space clean and peaceful. It is our responsibility. We give appointment to everybody, but we don't give appointment to ourselves. Please decide now onwards to give at least 15-20 minutes appointment to yourself. To keep your inner space peaceful, happy and healthy. These are the few concepts which I wanted to express